Hello and welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model. So in the last lesson we drew the basic jib shape and added in the holes in the surfaces here. So what we're going to try to do now is start to work on a bit more of the detail. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure the radio button's selected on jib, and I'm going to turn off things like the runner, crane chassis and crane body, so we're just looking at that. Okay, so the next thing we've got to think is a lot of what's going to be on this jib is going to be symmetrical. So I'm going to start looking for those symmetrical items within the photographs. So you're going to have like these pivot points here, there's this brace here, we've got a cutout in the actual jib itself that we're going to have to draw on here. And then we're going to have the frame that comes up on the top. So before really I take it any further, I'm going to get this cutout drawn here. At least then we know whereabouts we're looking at with that part of the model. Okay, so that's going to be sort of in this area here. So I'm going to just skip the model back beyond the mirror, and then I'm going to create an offset plane in this area here. Okay. So I'm going to offset from this face, and I'm going to drag that back. Actually, cancel that. I'm going to offset from the other face because it's at an angle. So if I do the inside face, it'll be perfectly vertical. With this one's at a slight angle. So I'm going to come in maybe 0.75, I think. Okay, so we've got that offset plane. If we look at the shape, essentially what we're going to have is a tangent curve between this surface and this surface. So it curves round. So if we're going to create a sketch on that surface, catch up, and we're going to be using this line to go to this line. So we need to get them to a point where we can draw an arc and actually get it to clip to there. So what I'm going to do is add probably a line along here. I'm going to tell that to be coincidence to that corner, and I want the line to be parallel to that top surface. I'm going to do the same over here, create a line on that surface, and I'm going to coincidence and parallel. Okay, the next thing I need to work out is whereabouts the curve needs to start. So realistically, it's probably looking about a foot, maybe slightly under a foot above that top. Top of the hole here. So if we just drag that up, sort of that position I reckon looks okay. This line is going to start, and obviously it's tangent with that point there. So what I'm then going to do is create tangent arc, tell it to go from that point to that point. Okay, so it's tangent on that corner. I actually need it to be tangent on the other end as well. Yeah, that's not what we're going to want. Let's undo that. That's not quite working how I hoped. So let's think about how we're going to do this then. Can maybe take a little fill out of that corner. That'll just smooth that out a little bit there. So then that drags that down at this point. So that's not what we're going to want. Probably, if we do the tangent arc, let's try it from the other direction. So if we start at that point and go to that point, well that's definitely not working, is it? Okay, so undo that. Let's just try 3-point arc. So we create the 2 points, and then we can see that's again not really what I'm after. Let's see if I've got a picture coming the other direction, see if this line maybe needs to move up a little bit. Yeah, so I found this picture, it's probably about the best view we've got here, and I actually think that the straight line actually continues further up, which might help what we're looking at here. So if we delete that constraint. So we're going to constrain that back to that top surface. Like that. So we now know it's constrained there again in power. So I had to delete the constraint here because it was snapped to this line going across here as well. So now we've got it coming further along. Okay, that'll be interesting now to see what effect that has now with our tangent curve. I think maybe that's starting to look better. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just create like a box shape that comes up and around. So this then becomes an area where I can extrude this inwards to cut that out. Let's go back beyond that mirroring, have a look, how do you think that looks? Maybe this needs to curve out a little bit. I think that looks a little bit better, it's a bit smoother coming around there rather than that angled edge that we had. It's quite a difficult shape to actually get, especially when the photos aren't the clearest in that area. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this. I think it looks reasonable. Might not be perfect, I don't think, but it's going to look okay, I think. Okay, so now we've got that bit sorted. The next I'm going to look at is this bracing panel here, support panel. Okay, so let's go back into Fusion, go back before the mirror, and let's turn this face on. So we're going to create a sketch on this front surface. Let's have a look at the canvas to see if it's on there. It's not, unfortunately. Okay, so the bottom part starts pretty much right at the bottom, and it goes up into the surface here. Angles down, so okay, let's offset that line, offset, and change selection of that arc inwards. Minus 1.5. Let's see if we can. We're trying to draw a line directly up. So it's a construction line. And we're going to put a point. I want to split this line so I can make it symmetrical both sides. mirror that across that mirror line. Okay, so that should be now these 2 points, same sort of position. Let's extend this point. Oop, no, I didn't want to do that. Let's extend this line all the way down to the bottom, like that. Okay, so looking at the picture, corner comes down sort of the same sort of height as this here. So we could draw like that. Probably comes down steep actually. I'm not actually keen on this at the top. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to keep this line here, but I'm going to delete these 2 arcs. Let's extend this to the bottom. Let's go about this a different way. Have that as a construction line. Okay, now we'll have a line. That looks about a foot in length. So if I do 1 millimetre on this side, and that will be a millimetre on the other side. Let's put an arc in here for some reason. Something like that, I think. Mirror that across. Mirror line would be that construction line. And then it's got an arc in this top surface. 0.9 on there. Actually, it's got a bit of a straight section in there. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, it probably looks something similar to that. It's quite difficult with not actually having it on the plan to try and match up where we're at. I wonder whether these are too far out and that should be more upright. I'm just playing around here to see if I can get this to look a little bit better. That's gone big for some reason, so if I can narrow this down a little bit. That might be the reason why. That looks better. That was almost 4mm for some reason. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, so the next one I'm looking at are these two bearings here. So we've got a bearing with a rectangular piece of bracket above it with a couple of small rivets on there. And they're sitting in this sort of area with the rectangle. So the rectangle's facing towards the front of the crane. So we can draw a simple sketch on here, which is going to be find the midpoints. A little bit lower than that. How big does it look? Maybe 1mm, I think. Not sure what that's the measurement of. It's supposed to be from the centre point. It's not going to. It's going up to the middle of the arc there. That's fine, we can do that. We can do that. 0.03. And distance from the side edge. Also, as I say, it's got this rectangular shape above it. It's slightly more difficult to draw that, I think. We're going to have to use 3-point rectangle. Something like that shape. What we're going to have to do, I think, we draw a line out like that. So that's now 90 degrees to that point. We can then constrain the midpoint to that line. So theoretically now the distance from there to there, 0.457, should be the same distance as there to there. 0.457. Good. Okay, so we've got that defined. That's already defined. Probably the angle. Let's try that to that, and that probably will look in place. No. We need that to that as well in that direction. There you go. I know it's a bit of a mess there, so you can have a look at the dimensions I've got there. I don't think it matters particularly, because we're just trying to get something that looks sort of the right sort of size and shape here. Okay, so we've got different extrusions. So this is going to extrude at 0.4. Catch up. Let's go back into that sketch. And then these are going to extrude 0.2. You can get that in the middle. Edit that picture. Just need those two there. Turn that sketch off. So get rid of the line. Okay, how does that look compared to the picture? I think it's okay, but obviously we're going to need to put the rivets on here. I think that would improve this. Draw a line, construction line down the midpoint there. Okay, so I think that's starting to look better. What else is on this panel? So we've got another one at a lower point. And it's pretty much the same, but just a smaller circle. So let's see if we can do it this way. If we come back into that sketch, copy that lot. I don't want that arc there. It's coming closer. Get it all in there, unfortunately. Let's go. If we start the drag from the other end, it should only pick up everything that it touches. So, no. That's come from this top end. I might have to just delete this top arc. So copy that. I'm going to paste it further down. Its position. A little bit higher than that. so we can delete that top half there. The circle's definitely smaller, so I'm going to go for 0.75 on that. And the distance, I'm going to close this up to 0.3. Okay. Still looks like it should be on the centre line. So we find the midpoint, drag it up, and then we should be able to drag this across onto that. Turn that into a construction line. Okay, so yeah, that's the drawing done. So let's just select all these features if it will let me. There's one. There. And let's make it extrude the same height as that surface. And then let's try again. Those two. Extrude to that height. Cancel that. That looks like it's done that wrong. That's because it's still in sector. Extrude 0.4. These two are 0.2. Turn that switch off now. Okay, good. Does this have rivets? Probably does. Difficult to see on that. Yes, it does. It's got like bolts or rivets, so we'll just draw them as rivets on the surface. Drawn. Okay, so I think that's that panel done. It's quite a long time actually just to draw that top part in this panel. But I think I'm going to finish the video there, give you a view of what we've actually managed to achieve. That's quite a long video I think for just some small details. I'm going to finish that off there and then we'll come back and do some more of that detail on the next lesson. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe to be informed when new videos get uploaded.